Unit 3, Functions of an Entrepreneur. Table of Contents. 1.0, Introduction. 2.0, Objectives. 3.0, Main Content. 3.1, Risk-Bearing. 3.2, Management Decision-Making or Taking. 3.3, Producing. 3.4, Strategic Planning. 3.5, Marketing Management. 4.0, Conclusion. 5.0, Summary. 1.0, Introduction. In the last unit, we defined and discussed the character traits of entrepreneurs, the advantages, disadvantages, and role of entrepreneurship in economic development. The focus of the unit will be on the functions of the entrepreneurs. In order for the entrepreneur to meaningfully contribute towards economic development, some essential functions must be performed. The successful performance of these functions is a prerequisite for the entrepreneur to effectively contribute to economic development. The efficient and effective performance of these functions will sustain the flow of income from the satisfaction of consumer needs. 2.0, Objectives. At the end of this unit, you should be able to 1. Describe the role of an entrepreneur as a risk bearer. 2. Discuss the management decision-making function of an entrepreneur. 3. Explain the production function of an entrepreneur. 4. Discuss the strategic planning function of an entrepreneur. And 5. Explain the marketing management function of the entrepreneur. 3.0, Main Content. 3.1, Risk-Taking. In the last unit, we had identified that willingness to take risk was one of the characteristics of an entrepreneur. This characteristic stands an entrepreneur out from among the people, just as it is one of the important functions performed by him. Any entrepreneur is a risk-taker. They take calculated risks, whether formally or informally. Mostly, they take risk informally, because they make calculation within their brain on what to buy, keep, and sell later. They equally try to figure out the probability of success of their business. Once they are convinced that it is high, they will go into such business, which means they take risk. Marketing research is undertaken by entrepreneur, consciously and unconsciously. If the result of the research is positive, they venture into such businesses. Entrepreneurs are not tired of trying. If they invest in a business and they fail, they still try another business so that they can succeed. According to Brown, 1999, an entrepreneur calculates his risks by asking the following questions. 1. Is the goal worth the risk? 2. How can I maximize the risk? 3. What information do I need before I take the risk? 4. Why is this risk important? 5. Am I willing to try my best to achieve the goal? 6. What preparation do I need to make before I take the risk? 7. What are the biggest obstacles to achieving my goal? The goal of every manager is to create a surplus. In business organizations, this means profit. Clear and verifiable objectives facilitate measurement of the surplus, as well as the effectiveness and efficiency of managerial actions. 3.2, Management Decision-Making or Taking. Decision-making covers all the management functions, namely, planning, organizing, decision-making, staffing, leading, motivating, communicating, and controlling. 3.2.1, Planning Function. Planning is a must for every business enterprise operating in a dynamic environment. This is more important now that today's world is a global village. The most important aspect of this changing environment is change in technology, government policy and activities, social norms, among others, and that planning provides direction and sense of purpose, a unifying framework within which such organizations are guided, reveal future opportunities and threats, means of minimizing risks, provides performance standard, and so on. 1. Definition of planning. Weyrich and Kuntz, 2005, state that planning involves selecting missions and objectives, and deciding on the actions to achieve them. It also requires decision-making, that is, choosing a course of action from among alternatives. According to them, plans thus provide a rational approach to achieving pre-selected objectives. Awijo, 1992 quoted in Ikaraham, 2006, defined planning as the activity by which managers analyze present conditions to determine ways of reaching a desired future state. Planning encompasses defining an organization's goals, establishing an overall strategy for achieving those goals, and developing a comprehensive hierarchy of plans to integrate and coordinate activities. It is concerned, then, with the ends, what is to be done, as well as means, how it is to be done. Robbins and Coulter, 1998, defined planning as involving defining the organization's objectives or goals, establishing an overall strategy for achieving those goals, and developing a comprehensive hierarchy of plans to integrate and coordinate activities. It can further be defined in terms, whether it's informal or formal. In informal planning, nothing is written down, and there is little or no sharing of objectives with others in the organization. This type of planning is done in small businesses. The owner-manager has a vision of where he or she wants to go and how to get there. The planning is general and lacks continuity. It exists in some large organizations too, and some small businesses have very sophisticated formal plans. As regards a formal planning, the objectives covering a period of years are defined. These objectives are written and made available to organizational members. Finally, specific action programs exist for the achievement of the objectives. That is, managers clearly define the path they want to take or follow, to get the organization from where it is to where they want it to be. 2. Features of planning. Planning is characterized by the following features. A. It must be realistic and capable of implementation. B. It must be comprehensive. C. It must have clearly defined objectives in terms of scope, accuracy, clarity, and definitiveness. D. It must be flexible. E. It must be futuristic. F. It must relate to conditions of relative certainty and uncertainty. And G. It must be a continuous process. 3. Purposes of planning. Why should managers plan? Weirich and Kuntz, 2005, state at least 4 reasons. According to them, it gives direction, reduces the impact of change, minimizes waste and redundancy, and sets the standards used in controlling. Planning establishes coordinated effort. It gives direction to managers and non-managers alike. When employees know where the organization is going, and what they must contribute to reach the objective, they can coordinate their activities, cooperate with each other, and work in teams. Without planning, departments might work at cross purposes, preventing the organization from moving efficiently toward its objectives. Planning reduces uncertainty by forcing managers to look ahead, anticipate change, consider the impact of change, and develop appropriate responses. It also clarifies the consequences of actions managers might take in response to change. In addition, planning reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. Coordination before the fact is likely to pinpoint waste and redundancy. Furthermore, the means and ends are clear, inefficiencies become obvious and can be corrected and eliminated. Finally, planning establishes objectives, or standards that are used in controlling. If we're unsure of what we're trying to achieve, how can we determine whether we have actually achieved it? In planning, we develop the objectives, identify any significant deviations, and take the necessary corrective action. Without planning, there would be no way to control. 4. Forecasting. Planning cannot be divorced from forecasting, for what is feasible depends, to a large extent, on events in the external world. The actual planning starts with goal setting, but any number of contingencies in the environment will have a major effect on the extent to which various goals may be feasible. Hornby, 2006, defines forecasting as a statement about what will happen in the future, based on information that is available now. Ikaran, 2006, divides forecasts into 2, namely, economic forecasts, technology forecasts, and forecasts of changes in public taste and public opinion. 1a. Economic forecasts. These are basic for every company's sales, depending on how much money is available for purchase. With few exceptions, sales are bound to drop during a period recession. 1b. Technological forecasts. What new inventions or new technical developments are probable, and when are they likely to come on the market? The answer to this question is important for new developments, and can make a company's products obsolete, or at least reduce the market for them drastically. 2. Forecasts of changes in public taste and public opinion. Changes in public taste affect not only products or services designed for the ultimate consumer, but sales to industry as well. For instance, if sales of a product drop, the companies that produce it will reduce their operations and buy less from their suppliers. Changes in public opinion may produce new laws that necessitate changes in plans, or perhaps give rise to boycotts of some products. In forecasting, a company should be able to answer the following questions. A. What products or services will be provided? B. To whom will we sell? That is, who is our market share? C. What methods or means will be used to sell these products? Is it through direct sales, or advertising, or both? D. What plant, equipment, and personnel will be needed? 5. Planning process. Planning process has to do with a logical set of steps a manager must take in order to find ways of reaching desired future objectives. Meanwhile, in planning process, the first step to consider is the identification of goals of the organization, upon which the plans will be built. In other words, management must have an overall goal in mind, before the organization even comes into existence. This and subsequent specific goals help determine the organizational structure. The second step of planning process involves a search for opportunities. This is where the manager opens his mind to new ideas, rather than fixing his mind. The third stage involves the translation of opportunities into selected courses of action. The managerial job at this time is to evaluate the alternatives, and compare each alternative to factors, like the organization's strengths and weaknesses, and to forecast economic activity. Furthermore, the next step involves setting specific targets. Here, the plan becomes a budget, or some other specific statement of targets. Finally, the planning process must be continuously reviewed, and revised where necessary. This will be fully discussed in subsequent unit. 3.2.2 Organizing function. Organizing draws particular attention to the processes of function and structure in an enterprise, to the uncertainties that accompany the day-to-day life in an enterprise, and to the fundamental point that an enterprise is not fixed or unchanging entities. An enterprise should be viewed as a result of the processes of organizing. It is commonly known that most of our lives are spent in association with other enterprises and organizations. Organizations are man-made, thus, they are simply social units, or human grouping, deliberately constructed to carry out specific tasks. Organizations vary in size from the sole trader outfit, to the large multinational business, employing thousands, and their tasks will cover the whole spheres of human needs and wants. As organizations are artificial constructs, they, in theory, change their form, as human needs change or disappear, altogether, as people get their wants and needs satisfied in cheaper or better ways by alternative organizations. Organizing involves the establishment of an intentional structure of roles, through determination of the activities required to achieve the goals of an enterprise, and each part of it, the grouping of these activities, the assignment of such groups of activities to an entrepreneur, the delegation of authority to carry them out, and provision for coordination of authority and informational relationships horizontally and vertically in the organization structure. Ikerin, 2006, is therefore defined as the process through which the structure of an organization or enterprise is created and maintained. Organizing draws particular attention to the processes of function and structure in an organization, to the uncertainties that accompany the day-to-day life of the enterprise, and to the functional point that enterprise are not fixed entities. 3.2.3 Decision-making. Cornell, 1980 quoted in Ikerin, 2006, defines a decision first of all as an act, but an act requiring judgment. He also went further to explain that a judgment requires a choice to become a decision, and that where alternatives exist, that the act of decision-making becomes meaningful. An entrepreneur plays series of roles including interpersonal, informational, and decisional roles. The authority an incumbent has is derived from the position he occupies, and so, a status is established. The status causes all managers to be involved in the interpersonal relationships with subordinates, peers and superiors, who in turn provide managers with the information needed to make decisions. Managers need information to make intelligent decisions, and the other members of the enterprise depend on such information received from, or transmitted through managers. Information is therefore the basic input to decision-making. Interpersonal and informational roles are facilitators to the process of decision-making, while decision roles are an end on their own. Decision-making requires analytical and conceptual thought. Stoner and Freeman, 1992, quoted in Ikaran, 2006, assert that analytical thinking involves breaking a problem down into its components and then coming up with a feasible solution. Even more important is the ability to think conceptually, which means viewing the entire tasks in the abstract and relating it to other tasks. 3.2.4 Staffing. Staffing involves filling, and keeping filled, the positions provided for by the enterprise structure. It thus necessitates defining workforce requirements for the job to be done, and it includes inventorying, appraising, and selecting candidates for positions, compensating and training, or otherwise developing both candidates for positions, compensating, and training position holders to do their tasks effectively. To function effectively and efficiently, enterprises need the unavoidable service of human beings. Since the enterprise work or function with human efforts, it need not be stressed, therefore, that the human component is the most important, and the pivot on which other parts of the enterprise revolve. To that extent, unless there is the right number and kind of people with the right levels of skills, in the right jobs at the right time, and carrying out the right responsibilities, it may not be possible to achieve the predetermined goals. The entrepreneur's function of planning, organizing, and controlling can be viewed as essentially objective tasks, which may even have some important mechanistic features. On the other hand, the functions of staffing and leading concerned almost exclusively with people. Thus, uncertainties in the selection and direction of people may lead to frustration of the managers, who know the importance of staffing, and at the same time recognize the limitations of the tools available for carrying out this function effectively. For staffing to be effectively carried out, there is need for job analysis, job description, and job specification. Job analysis is the cornerstone of all human resource functions. Especially, data obtained from the analysis form the basis for a variety of human resource activities. These activities include job definition, job redesign, recruitment, selection and placement, orientation, training, career counseling, employee safety, performance appraisal, and compensation. Job description involves not only analyzing job content, but also reporting the results of the analysis. These results are normally presented in the form of a job description and a job specification. 3.2.5 Leading. Leadership is the notion that leaders are individuals who, by their actions, facilitate the movement of a group of people toward a common or shared goal. House and Podsakoff, 1994, Ikaran, 2006. Since leadership implies followership, and people tend to follow those in whom they see as a means of satisfying their own needs, wishes, and desires, it is understandable that this area of management involves motivation, leadership styles and approaches, and effective communication. The distinction between leader and leadership is important, but potentially confusing. The leader is the individual. Leadership is the function, or activity the individual performs. The following key variables may be used to understand leadership. A. Leadership characteristics and style. B. Follower characteristics. C. Leader behavior and leadership context. The following factors can enhance leadership. They are: 1. Respect for individual. 2. Delegate authority and responsibility. 3. Excellence. 4. Build workers' self-esteem. 5. Inform employees. 6. Apply the reinforce principle. 7. Be an active listener. Leaders are individuals who have developed the personal styles of leadership. Leaders are those who possess ideals and broad visions, which they impress on their supporter and voluntary assistants. In their internal organizations, they are leaders, rather than drivers. To be an effective leader, one must try to see things through the eyes of those he is leading. 3.2.6 Motivating. Ikaran, 2006, opines that since managing involves the creation and maintenance of an environment, for the performance of individuals working together in groups, toward the accomplishment of a common objective, it is obvious that a manager cannot do this job without knowledge of motivation. Motivation is defined by Hornby, 2006, as the process, or stimulating the interest of people to do something. Bernard and Gary, 1964, quoted in Ikaran, 2006, sees motivation as an inner state that energizes, activates or moves, directs or channels behavior toward goals. Motivated behavior has three characteristics, namely: 1. It is sustained and maintained for a long time until satisfied. 2. It is goal-directed and seeks to achieve an objective. And 3. It results from a felt need. For every enterprise to motivate an employee, there must be 1. Needs that the employee wishes to satisfy. 2. The motivating factor must be one that needs the desire or aspiration of the employee. 3. The goal must be perceived as being available, and that the goal must be attainable by the employee. 3.2.7 Communicating. Enterprises exist through communication, and without communication, there would be no organizations. In modern enterprises, communication is the foundation upon which all other functions rest. This is because, when communication fails, no activity prevails. Organization communication is the process by which managers develop a system to give information and transmit meaning to large numbers of people within the organization and to relevant individuals and institutions outside it. In other words, communication is the transfer of information from the sender through the communication channel to the receiver, with the information being understood by the receiver. The process of communication includes: 1. Encoding, who is the originator of the message, in spoken or written form. 2. Channel, is the means by which the information gets to the decoder. And 3. Decoder, is the receiver of the information sent by the encoder. Characteristics of information refer to that which creates value for information. These are: A. Relevance. B. Accuracy. C. Completeness. D. Confidence. E. Communication to the right person. F. Timeliness. G. Detail and communicated by an appropriate channel of communication. The functions of communication are: 1. To enable employees to express themselves. 2. To motivate the activities of subordinates. 3. Serves as vital function for managerial decision-making. It is therefore the vehicle through which the basic management functions are carried out. Organization attempt to control the activities of individuals through the design and use of formal communication channels. In other words, it is used to control and evaluate the performance of organizational members. The purpose served by communication in an organization include: serves as lubricant to foster the smooth operation of the management progress. It is the vehicle through which basic management are carried. 3.2.8 Controlling. Control means to check or verify, to regulate, to compare with a standard, to exercise authority over, or to curb or restrain. Controlling is the process of measuring performance against standard. It is the process of measuring and correcting individual and organizational performance to ensure that event conform to plan. It shows where deviation from standard exists and helps to correct them. Egeogu, 1995, quoted in Ikaran, 2006, sees managerial control as the monitoring and adjusting of organizational activities towards effective and efficient goal attainment. He further stated that through his or her control activities, a manager ensures that all organizational actions and behaviors are in consonance with expected desired results. In essence, the essential purpose of control is to ensure that actions do indeed conform to plans and contribute towards the accomplishment of goals, which is to say that, through a well-coordinated control system, individual managers are enabled to meet their accountability. The steps in a control process include 1. Establishment of standards. 2. Assessment of performance. 3. Comparing performance against standards. 4. Evaluation and adjustment. The reasons for controlling function is 1. To check actual performance against set standard. 2. To ensure that the objective of the organization is achieved. 3. To sort out deviations and mistakes in the system. 4. To ensure proper functioning of the enterprise, and 5. To ensure the steering and guiding of the enterprise in the right direction. There are 4 basic areas where control is necessary. They include 1. Financial resources. 2. Physical resources. 3. Human resources, and 4. Information resources. The attributes of a good control process are A. Flexibility. B. Objectivity. C. Economy. D. Accuracy. E. Corrective, and F. Integration. Sometimes controls are resisted due to the following reasons. 1. Unnecessary bossing. 2. Over-control. 3. Non-seriousness. 4. Rewarding inefficiency. And 5. Mediocrity and accountability. 3.3. Production. The production is the transformation of inputs, such as raw materials, through the transformation processes, to produce outputs, such as finished products that are available and highly affordable. The duty of the entrepreneur is to harness all human and material resources, with a view to improving production and distribution efficiency, such that the goods get to the final consumers. The entrepreneur ensures that necessary funds are provided from time to time, to source for the needed raw materials, at the right quantity and quality, right price, and specification, to produce the products desired by the consumers. He will also ensure proper inventory management, so as to minimize, in total, the costs associated with stock. Overstocking are stocks which are excess to current needs, and it results in capital being tied up and increased costs of storage and obsolescence. Understocking may result in costly production hold-ups, which may mean increased costs of goods. It also interrupts production, making machines and men idle, and causing sales loss. However, there are benefits to be derived by an entrepreneur when a proper stock management is in place, and these include 1. Ensuring proper execution of policies covering procurement and use of materials, and make possible rapid shifts in business to meet changes in market conditions. 2. Obtaining economics, through a reduction in needless variety of items carried in stock. 3. Helping to eliminate delays in production, caused by non-availability of required materials and tools. 4. Avoiding overaccumulation of inventories and tools, and thereby maintain the minimum investment, consistent with production needs and procurement policies. 5. Reducing inventory losses, caused by inadequate inspection of incoming materials, damaged, deterioration, obsolescence, waste or theft. 6. Providing balanced stores records, to serve as a reliable basis for effective production planning, economical procurement, cost accounting, and preparation of financial reports. 3.4. Strategic planning. Aghado, 2010, defines strategic planning as a disciplined effort to produce fundamental decisions and actions that shape and guide what an organization is, what it does, and why it does it, with a focus on the future. A word-by-word dissection of this definition provides the key elements that underlie the meaning and success of a strategic planning process. The process is strategic because it involves preparing the best way to respond to the circumstances of the organization's environment. Whether or not its circumstances are known in advance, non-profits often must respond to dynamic and even hostile environments. Core areas of strategy. 3 core areas of corporate strategy are strategic analysis, strategic development, and strategy implementation. 1. Strategic analysis. The organization, its mission, and objectives have to be examined and analyzed. Corporate strategy provides value for the people involved in the organization, its stakeholders, but it is often the senior managers who develop the view of the organization's overall objectives in the broadest possible terms. They conduct an examination of the objectives and the organization's relationship with its environment. They will also analyze the resources of the organization. 2. Strategy development. The strategy options have to be developed and then selected. To be successful, the strategy is likely to be built on the particular skills of the organization, and the special relationships that it has, or can develop with those outside, suppliers, customers, distributors, and government. For many organizations, this will mean developing advantages over competitors, that is sustainable over time. There are usually many options available, and one or more will have to be selected. 3. Strategy implementation. The selected options now have to be implemented. There may be major difficulties in terms of motivation, power relationships, government negotiations, company acquisitions, and many other matters. A strategy that cannot be implemented is not worth the paper it is written on. Process, content, and context. Research, Pettigrew and Whip, 1991, has shown that in most situations, corporate strategy is not simply a matter of taking a strategic decision and then implementing it. It often takes a considerable time to make the decision itself, and then another delay before it comes into effect. There are 2 reasons for this. First, people are involved, managers, employees, suppliers, and customers, for example. Any of these people may choose to apply their own business judgment to the chosen corporate strategy. They may influence both the initial decision and the subsequent actions that will implement it. Second, the environment may change radically as the strategy is being implemented. This will invalidate the chosen strategy and mean that the process of strategy development needs to start again. For these reasons, an important distinction needs to be drawn in strategy development between process, content, and context. Every strategic decision involves 1. Context, the environment within which the strategy operates and is developed. In the IBM case, during the 1980s, the context was the fast-changing technological development in personal computers. 2. Content, the main actions of the proposed strategy. The content of the IBM strategy was the decision to launch the new PC and its subsequent performance in the marketplace. 3. Process, how the actions link together, or interact with each other, as the strategy unfolds against what may be a changing environment. The process in the IBM case was the delay in tackling the PC market, the slow reaction to competitive actions, and the interactions between the various parts of the company as it attempted to respond to competition actions. Process is thus the means by which the strategy will be developed and achieved. 2 approaches to the process are prescriptive and emergent. A prescriptive corporate strategy is one whose objective has been defined in advance, and whose main elements have been developed before the strategy commences. Emergent corporate strategy, on the other hand, is a strategy whose final objective is unclear, and whose elements are developed during the course of its life as the strategy proceeds. Mintzberg, 1987, sees merit in both approaches. According to him, in many respects, they can be said to be like the human brain, which has both a rational left side and an emotional right side. Both sides are needed for the brain to function properly. It can be argued that the same is true in corporate strategy. 3.5. Marketing management. Marketing management is the process of planning and executing the conception, pricing, promotion, and distribution of ideas, goods, and services to create exchanges that satisfy individual and organizational goals. Marketing management is also defined as the analysis, planning, implementation, and control of programs designed to create, build, and maintain beneficial exchanges with target buyers for the purpose of achieving organizational objectives. People think of marketing management as finding enough customers for the company's current output, but this is too limited a view. From these definitions, the following terms: needs, wants, demands, products, exchange, and some others are useful. Some of the basic concepts underlying marketing are explained below. Needs. The most basic concept underlying marketing is that of human needs. Human needs are states of felt deprivation. These needs include basic physical needs for food, clothing, shelter, and safety, social needs for belonging and affection, and individual needs for knowledge and self-expression. The needs are inbuilt in human nature itself. It is not invented by marketers. Wants. Human wants are desires for specific satisfaction of deeper needs. For example, a man in the village needs rain and food, and wants fertilizer. Also, a man may want yam, rice, body cream, a bag, a wristwatch, etc., but needs money. Human needs may be few, but their wants are numerous. These wants are continually shaped and reshaped by social forces and institutions, such as families, church, schools, and business corporations. Marketers do not create needs. Needs pre-exist in marketing. Marketers, along with other operatives in society, influence wants. They suggest and inform consumers about certain products, and persuade them to purchase, stressing the benefits of such products. Demands. People have almost unlimited wants, but limited resources. They want to choose products that provide the most value and satisfaction for their money. When backed by purchasing power, wants become demand. That is, demand is a want for specific products that is backed up by an ability and willingness to buy them. For example, many desire a car, such as Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, BMW, Honda, etc., but only a few are really willing and able to buy one. It is therefore important for marketing executives to measure not only how many people want their company's products, but also measure how many of them would actually be willing and able to buy them. Products. People normally satisfy their wants and needs with products offered in the market. Broadly, a product can be defined as anything that can be offered to someone to satisfy a need or want. Specifically, a product can be defined as an object, service, activity, person, place, organization, or idea. It should be noted that people do not buy physical objects for their own sake. For example, a lipstick is bought to supply service, beautify, toothpaste for whiter teeth, prevent germs, or give fresh breath, or sex appeal. The marketer's job is to sell the service packages built into physical products. If one critically looks at physical products, one realizes that their importance lies not so much in owning them, as in using them to satisfy our wants. For example, we do not buy a bed just to admire it, but because it aids resting better. Exchange. Marketing takes place when people decide to satisfy needs and wants through exchange. Exchange is therefore the act of obtaining a desired object from someone by offering something in return. Exchange is only one of the many ways people can obtain a desired object. For example, hungry people can find food by hunting, fishing, or gathering fruits. They could offer money, another food, or a service in return for food. Marketing focuses on this last option. As a means of satisfying needs, exchange has much in its favor. People do not have to depend on others, nor must they possess the skills to produce every necessity for themselves. They can concentrate on making things they are good at, in exchange for the needed items made by others. Thus, exchange allows a society to produce much more than it would. However, Kotler, 1984, states that for exchange to take place, it must satisfy 5 conditions, namely, a. There are at least 2 parties. b. Each party has something that might be of value to the other party. c. Each party is capable of communication and delivery. d. Each party is free to accept or reject the offer. e. Each party believes it is appropriate or desirable to deal with the other party. These 5 conditions make exchange possible. Whether exchange actually takes place, however, depends on the parties coming to an agreement. It is often concluded that the act of exchange has left both of them better off, or at least not worse off. Hence, exchange creates value, just as production creates value. It gives people more consumption possibilities. Relationship marketing. Relationship marketing is a process of creating, maintaining, and enhancing strong value-added relationships with customers and other stockholders. Markets. A market is defined as a set of all the actual and potential buyers of a product and service. These buyers share particular needs or wants that can be satisfied through exchange. The size of a market depends on the need of people with common needs, and that has resources to engage in exchange, and is willing to offer these resources in exchange for what they want. Originally, the term market stood for the place where buyers and sellers gathered to exchange the goods, such as a village square. However, economists often use the term to refer to a collection of buyers and sellers who transact in a particular product class, such as clothing market, electronic market, cattle market, etc. Functions of marketing. The functions of marketing can be classified into 3, namely, a. Merchandising function, b. Physical distribution, and c. Auxiliary function. Merchandising function. 1. Product planning and development. Product planning starts with idea generation, idea screening, and development of a prototype product. It also takes into consideration the purchasing power of the consumers, taste, and market segmentation. Research and development is established for the analyses of ideas generated. 2. Standardization and grading. This is concerned with setting certain standards or levels to accomplish the produced goods. This is carried out by the production department and regulated by some government agencies, such as Standards Organization of Nigeria. For example, Sprite is 30 centiliters, Coke is 35 centiliters, etc. 3. Buying and assembling. Here, we are concerned with the marketing institutions that purchase goods or services at cheaper prices in order to resell at minimum prices to the end users. These marketing institutions include the wholesalers, retailers, and agents. 4. Selling. This is concerned with selling of the finished goods to the end users, either through the manufacturers or the marketing channels. In order to get the attention of their target consumers, they embark on various promotional strategies, such as discounts, promo tools, bundle sales, bonuses, etc. In order to get the attention of their target consumers, they embark on various promotional strategies, such as discounts, promo tools, bundle sales, bonuses, etc. Physical distribution. 1. Storage, storing of goods to meet future demands, and for time and other utilities. 2. Transportation, the movement of goods from the manufacturer down to the target consumers. This includes material handling, warehousing, etc. Auxiliary function. 1. Marketing finance, that is, allowing credits to customers, and as well as obtaining credit from customers, such as banks, individuals, etc. 2. Risk-bearing. Risk means uncertainty. Entering into a business entails risks, such as loss of items, road attack, weather risk, etc. 3. Market information. Gathering necessary information about the markets, the target consumers, in terms of their purchasing power, taste, color, choices, competition, and their products. The role of marketing. 1. The first and foremost role is that it stimulates potential aggregate demand, and thus enlarges the size of the market. You might ask, how does it help in the economic growth of a country? The answer is that through stimulation of demand, people are motivated to work harder and earn additional money, income, to buy the various ideas, goods, and services being marketed. An additional advantage which accrues in the above context is that it accelerates the process of monetizing the economy, which in turn facilitates the transfer of investable resources. 2. Another important role which marketing plays is that it helps in the discovery of entrepreneurial talent. Peter Drucker, a celebrated writer in the field of management, makes this point very succinctly when he observes that marketing is a multiplier of managers and entrepreneurs. 3. It helps in sustaining and improving the existing levels of employment. You may ask, how does it happen? The answer is that when a country advances economically, it takes more and more people to distribute goods, and proportionately a lesser number to make them. That is, from the employment point of view, production becomes relatively less significant than marketing, and the related services of transportation, finance, communication, insurance, etc., which spring around it. Marketing management philosophies. Marketing management has been described as carrying out tasks to achieve desired exchange with target markets. But then, what philosophy should guide these activities? What weight should be given to the interests of the organization, customers, and society that carry out these activities? This section examined 5 philosophies that underlie marketing activities. 1. Production concept. The production concept holds that consumers would favor products that are available and highly affordable. Management therefore should focus on improving production and distribution efficiency. This concept is one of the oldest philosophies that guide sellers. The production concept is a useful philosophy which applies to a. When the demand for a product exceeds the supply. This is very common to most of goods or services available in Nigeria markets. Examples of these are petroleum products, food stuffs, and educational books. It therefore implies that management should look for ways of increasing production of such products. b. When the product's cost is too high, and improved productivity is needed to bring it down. For example, Henry Ford's whole philosophy was to perfect the production of the Model T so that its cost could be reduced and more people could afford it. Another example is the cost of earlier mobile phones and their accessories. They were very costly, and access was limited to only few privileged individuals in Nigeria, as compared to present situation whereby an average individual has one. In order to maintain the market turnover, it thus implies that management should endeavor to improve facilities and reduce prices of their products or services. 2. The product concept. The product concept holds that consumers will favor products that offer the most quality, performance, and innovative features, and that an organization should thus devote energy to making continuous product improvements. In modern marketing, the product concept plays an important role. This is because consumers are diverse in their needs and wants and sparsely distributed. Thus, they need to be served based on their peculiarity of needs and environmental consideration. For example, the Toyota and Honda companies adopt this concept for their brands of cars for Nigeria markets. In hospitality industry, services are provided based on the expectation of the guests. This is why rooms in the same hotel are not charged equally. However, marketing executives should be careful in applying this concept. Quality and innovative features may involve additional production costs, which in the long run, the consumers might be compelled to bear the burden. Thus, income of the consumers, and their willingness to pay for these new features, should be sought. Otherwise, the product concept can lead to market myopia. 3. The selling concept. The selling concept or sales concept is another common approach, adopted by some firms in penetrating their target markets. The selling concept holds that consumers, if left alone, will ordinarily not buy enough of the organization's products. The organization must therefore undertake an aggressive selling and promotion effort. The concept assumes that consumers having shown buying inertia or resistance, and has to be coaxed into buying more, and that the company has various strategies of effective selling and promotion tools to stimulate more buying. This selling concept is being practiced by both profit and non-profit making organizations. For instance, in an insurance industry, the selling concept is practiced aggressively with unsought goods. These are goods that buyers normally do not think of buying, such as insurance policies. Thus, various sales techniques are used to locate potential and prospective buyers. 4. The marketing concept. The marketing concept is a business philosophy that arose to challenge the previous concepts. The marketing concept holds that the key to achieving organizational goals consists in determining the needs and wants of target markets and delivering the desired satisfactions more effectively and efficiently than competitors. This concept concerns it with find wants and fill, then make what will sell, instead of trying to sell what you can make, love the customer and not the product, etc. The selling and marketing concepts contrasted. Selling focuses on the needs of the sellers, marketing focus on the needs of the buyers. Selling is preoccupied with the seller's need to convert his product into cash, while marketing concerned itself with the idea of satisfying the needs of the customers by means of the product and whole cluster of things associated with creating, delivery, and finally consuming it. In selling, management is sales volume oriented, while in marketing, management is profit oriented. In selling, planning is short-run oriented, in terms of today's products and markets. However, in marketing, planning is long-run oriented, in terms of new products, tomorrow's markets, and future growth. That is, the marketing concept is a philosophy of business that states that the customer's want satisfaction is the economic and social justification for a firm's existence. This, thus implies, that all companies' activities must be devoted to finding out what the customers want, and then satisfying those wants while making profits in the long run. The marketing concept rests on four main pillars, namely, 1. A market focus. 2. Customer orientation. 3. Coordinated marketing. And 4. Profitability. The societal marketing concepts posits that key to achieving organizational goals consists in determining the needs and wants of target markets and delivering the desired satisfactions more effectively and efficiently than competitors, as well as meeting the needs in line with the expectations of the society. 4.0 Conclusion. It is evident that entrepreneurs need to perform some essential activities in order to function effectively. The performance of risk-bearing, management, production, strategic planning, and marketing functions will result in the successful management of a business. 5.0 Summary. One of the most important functions of the entrepreneur is risk-taking. The entrepreneur takes the risk of investing time, energy, money, among others, in a business with no guarantee of success. In addition to risk-taking, the entrepreneur undertakes the management decision-making, functions of planning, organizing, controlling, decision-making, communicating, staffing, leading, etc. Of equal importance are the production function of an entrepreneur, strategic planning, and the marketing management function of the entrepreneur.